Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa and I'm the owner of seasonandserveblog.com. So if you can believe it, Thanksgiving is just around the corner for us Canadians, and I honestly cannot believe that we made it this far. This year has been crazy. But Thanksgiving is actually one of my favorite holidays because it's mainly centered around food and you get to celebrate with your friends or your family. However, this year's celebrations might look different because of everything going on in the world, but I'm still giving you a lovely Thanksgiving meal that you can make just for you and your partner, or you and some close friends or family members. So in today's video, we're gonna make an entire Thanksgiving feast. We're gonna start off by making a roasted turkey breast with bread stuffing. And this recipe is an absolute showstopper. And even though it looks complicated, it really isn't, and it still has all of the flavors of a traditional roast turkey, just condensed into a roast turkey breast. And then I'll be showing you how to make 3 delicious side dishes, and we'll start off by making my Brussels sprout salad with maple bacon. Even if you aren't a fan of Brussels sprouts, I guarantee you will absolutely love this recipe because it has delicious maple bacon in it. Next up, I'm going to show you how to make my chive mashed potatoes, because really, what is Thanksgiving without mashed potatoes? These mashed potatoes are super creamy and flavorful, and they are a really great vehicle for eating lots of turkey gravy. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to make a butternut squash and Parmesan gratin. And that may sound a little bit fancy to you and complicated, but trust me, it is not. And it's a great way to celebrate butternut squash that is in season right now. So I'll get into the video and I'll show you how to make all these delicious recipes. And don't forget, all the full directions and measurements can be found in my food blog, and I will leave the link to that in the description box below. If you head over to my food blog, you will also find lots of other Thanksgiving recipes from past years where I did these videos. And of course, you can also sign up with your email to get notified every time I post a new recipe. Additionally, make sure to check me out on Instagram because I love posting all of my food photography photos and recipes on there. Plus, I also love doing Instagram stories, so I'm always posting on there. So head over to my Instagram if you want to give me a follow. All right, and with all that said, let's get into today's video. To start off our Thanksgiving feast, we're going to cook our roasted turkey breast with bread stuffing. This turkey breast is absolutely amazing. You just slice into it and there's no bones, and your turkey and stuffing comes in one, which is really, really great and easy for the holidays. So let me show you how to make it. We'll start off by making the bread stuffing, and here I'm using the seeded hearth loaf from Portofino Bakery. So all I'm doing is adding the bread into a food processor, and then I'm just going to pulse it until small breadcrumbs form. You want them to be about the size of peas. Once the bread is all chopped up, I'm going to add it to a large mixing bowl. Next, I'm going to go ahead and process the rest of the ingredients, and this recipe is really great because there's barely any chopping involved. The food processor does all the work. So as you can see, I'm adding carrots to the food processor, and I'm just processing it until little tiny chunks of carrots form. Then once the carrots are chopped up, I'm going to add them to the bowl with the breadcrumbs, and then I'm going to go ahead and process some onions. And again, you want to chop this up pretty finely, and once that's all done, add it into the same bowl as well. Next, we're going to process some celery, and I also threw in a garlic clove there. I forgot to put that in with the onion, but as long as the garlic gets chopped up, it's totally fine. And again, the celery should be shredded pretty fine, and I'm adding it to the bowl. Next, for the herb filling, I'm going to add some fresh parsley to the food processor, along with 1 sprig of rosemary. And then we're also going to add some sage, and sage is the very famous Thanksgiving flavor that we all know and love. So I'm going ahead and adding the leaves from a couple stems of sage. Then I'm just simply going to process it all to combine and then add it into the bowl. Next, use a spatula to mix all the bread stuffing ingredients to combine. And then to add a little bit of moisture to the stuffing, we're going to add some chicken stock here, along with some melted butter. And we love butter here because it is the holidays and adds nice richness to the stuffing. I'm also going to go in and add some pepper as well, and then give everything a good mix. Once everything is combined, I'm going to set it aside while we prepare our turkey breast. For the turkey breast, you want to get a boneless turkey breast with the skin still attached. Then I'm going to go ahead and butterfly the turkey breast to ensure that it all cooks evenly. Butterflying allows the turkey breast to all be one even thickness. So once it's butterflied and open just like this, we're going to go ahead and cover with some parchment paper and use either a meat mallet or a rolling pin like I'm using here, just to kind of flatten it out and make sure it's all even. And this will definitely ensure that the bread stuffing sits on top perfectly and it's easier to roll, and the turkey will cook consistently in the oven. Once your turkey breast has been flattened, you want to go ahead and add your bread stuffing directly on top of the turkey breast. And I'm just piling it on. It can be as tall as you want it for now, but you basically want to get it all over the turkey breast. Then with your hands, just go in and push it all down, just so it fits into one even layer and none of it spills out over the sides of the turkey breast. Next, we're going to roll up the turkey breast, and you want to start at one end and just simply roll it as tightly as you can, making sure that none of the bread stuffing falls out. If some of it does, it's totally fine. You can just pick it up and add it back into the turkey breast as you go. And then once your turkey is rolled up, it should look something like this. If there's any loose pieces of meat that's hanging off the rolled turkey, you can just simply slice them off and add them into your roasting pan. Then, to ensure that the turkey breast doesn't fall apart while it's cooking, we're going to tie it up with some butcher's string, and you can buy this at any kitchen supply store. I'm just adding the strings one by one and tying it into a double knot, but if you're fancy and you have the proper technique, you can probably just do this with a long piece of string. Either way you do it, you want to make sure that the turkey's tied up every inch or so, just so that the breast really holds together and will make it easier for slicing at the end. Then, to add a bit of flavor to the turkey, we're going to sprinkle it with salt and pepper on top and then cover it with butter. And again, it is the holidays, but the butter really helps get the turkey nice and golden brown in the oven. Next, simply transfer the turkey roll into a roasting pan and add some onions around it just so it flavors the gravy. Also add in some chicken stock as well. To cook your turkey, you want to start it off in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for half an hour. Then after half an hour, reduce the heat to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then baste the turkey every 20 to 30 minutes or so. As the turkey cooks, the gravy will get darker and darker, so don't be alarmed, it's just developing flavor. You'll know that the turkey breast is done when it reaches a temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit. At that point, take it out of the oven, cover it with some tin foil, and let it rest on your counter for at least 15 minutes. During these 15 minutes, the temperature will come up to 165 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the perfect temperature to cook your turkey to. Once the turkey has rested, use a sharp knife to slice the turkey breast. And I find it's a little bit easier to slice a turkey if you leave the strings on. Just remember to take them off before you serve it. Then once your turkey breast is all sliced up, arrange it on a platter and then bring it to the table. This roasted turkey breast with bread stuffing is an absolute showstopper and it'll definitely impress your family this Thanksgiving. While this turkey breast is incredibly flavorful and delicious on its own, you also want to serve it with some turkey gravy. And I have the full recipe for this turkey gravy on my website, and I'll leave the link in the description box below. Next, we'll make our side dishes, and we'll start off by making our Brussels sprout salad with maple bacon. Even if you don't like Brussels sprouts, I can guarantee that you will love this salad because it has lots of sweet and smoky flavors. So let me show you how to make it. We'll start off by cleaning up our Brussels sprouts, and you want to take each Brussels sprout and cut off the little end of each of them. You also want to remove some of the outer leaves that may be damaged or dried out. To shred your Brussels sprouts, you want to cut each Brussels sprout in half lengthwise and then shred it into fine strips. Then add the shredded Brussels sprouts into a large mixing bowl. Next, we're going to add some red onion, and I'm just using a little bit here. You don't need that much because red onion is still fairly pungent. So I'm just slicing it up into little thin strips and then adding it into the bowl. Next, we'll prepare our salad dressing. So I'm adding some olive oil to a measuring cup, followed by some apple cider vinegar and a splash of maple syrup for a bit of sweetness. Next, I'm going to add a generous pinch of salt and pepper to season the entire salad, and then I'm just going to whisk the salad dressing until it's nice and combined. Next, pour the dressing over the salad, and you actually want to do this a little bit in advance so that the salad dressing can kind of soften up the Brussels sprouts and make them easier to eat. And next, I'm going to add in some dried cranberries, which really gives the salad a nice sweetness and really complements the bacon. Then I'll toss the salad to combine, and then I'm going to set it aside for 30 minutes to let all the flavors come together. This salad also holds up really well, so you can actually make it a day in advance and keep it in the refrigerator overnight. Just don't add the final ingredients until you're ready to serve it. To really make the salad fit for Thanksgiving, I am adding the double smoked maple bacon from Red Barn Market. This is one of my favorite bacons to use in my cooking, and here you can just see me frying it up, and once it's all crispy and delicious, I'm just going to drain it on a paper towel and set it aside. While the bacon is cooling, I'm going to wash up some celery leaves and add it into the salad. This is a bit of a peculiar ingredient, but it really adds a lot of freshness to the salad. Then once the bacon is cooled, I'm just going to chop it up into pieces and then add it into the salad. Once you add your bacon, give the salad a toss, and then you're ready to serve. And there you have it, my Brussels sprout salad with maple bacon. This is a really great recipe to include in your Thanksgiving dinner menu this year because it's sweet, savory, and really refreshing, which balances out the entire Thanksgiving meal. Next, we're going to make my recipe for chive mashed potatoes because you can't have Thanksgiving without some mashed potatoes. This recipe is super easy and comes together relatively quickly, so let me show you how to make it. For my mashed potatoes, I like combining the flavors and the textures of russet potatoes and Yukon Gold potatoes. So you can see here that I'm just peeling up the potatoes, and then I'm going to chop them into 1 each pieces and then add them into a pot with cold water and salt. You want to do this for all your potatoes and then bring them to a boil and cook them for about 15 to 20 minutes or until fork tender. While the potatoes are cooking, we're going to go ahead and chop up our chives really finely. And I love adding chives to mashed potatoes because I love the fresh onion flavor that it gives it. Once your potatoes are fully cooked and drained, you want to go ahead and mash up your potatoes. But if you want to take it a step further, invest in something called a potato ricer. This makes your potatoes super fluffy and really smooth, and I guarantee there will be no lumps. Potato ricers are actually relatively cheap, and you can find them basically in any cooking store or even on Amazon, so I definitely recommend buying one of these. It is amazing. And once all your potatoes are riced or mashed, go ahead and add some butter and then a splash of milk, and just simply mix everything together with a spoon until fully combined. At the very end of the mixing process, add in the chives that we chopped up earlier, and then give everything a final mix to combine. Then simply transfer the mashed potatoes into a serving bowl and then bring it to the table. As a final garnish, I like to add a little bit more chopped chives and a big piece of butter. These chive mashed potatoes are incredibly flavorful, creamy, and buttery, and I highly recommend making this for your family this Thanksgiving. For a final Thanksgiving side dish, we have this delicious recipe for butternut squash and Parmesan gratin. Butternut squash is in season right now and almost everyone loves it. Plus, if you add a little bit of breadcrumbs and melted cheese and butter on top, I think it'll be a fan favorite. So, let me show you how to make it. To prepare a butternut squash, we want to begin by peeling it. And I find the easiest way to do this is to actually lay it on its side and use a really good peeler to peel away all the skin. You might have to do a couple passes on it because the skin is relatively thick, but it should come off pretty easily. Then once it's all peeled, remove the top and the bottom, and then use a very sharp knife to cut it right down the middle. To make it a bit easier, you can cut the butternut squash in half and then cut each of the half lengthwise just like this so it's opened up. Next, use your sharp knife to cut the butternut squash into 1 centimeter thick slices. As you're slicing, you'll notice that you get some slices that are hollow where the seeds were, and then you'll get some full solid slices. And as you slice it, you want to go ahead and separate the full slices from the hollow ones. Prepare the baking dish by adding a little bit of olive oil to the bottom of the pan so that it doesn't stick, and use your fingers to spread it out up along the sides. Next, layer your slices in the baking dish, and I actually like to layer the full slices first and then cut up the ones that are hollow and just kind of nestle those in here and there. Then to add some flavor to the butternut squash, I'm going to add some finely chopped garlic, followed by a sprinkle of cayenne pepper, and the cayenne pepper adds a nice little spice to it that's really unexpected in this dish. Next, I'm adding some nutmeg on top of the butternut squash, and I like to use whole nutmeg, which looks like this, and then I'm just going to grate it using a microplane and just put it everywhere. And the nutmeg is really warm and really complements the nuttiness of the butternut squash. To make this a true gratin, I'm adding some breadcrumbs and some cheese on top. So here I have some breadcrumbs made from the same seeded hearth loaf from Portofino Bakery that I used in our bread stuffing for our turkey, and I'm just spreading it on top. Then I'm going in and following up with some Parmesan cheese that is also very finely grated, and I'm adding lots because I love Parmesan cheese. Then to get the top nice and crispy and to add a bit more flavor, I am adding some butter, and the butter will melt and will just kind of coat all the squash and the breadcrumbs and the cheese and get it nice and toasty. I'm also adding a light sprinkle of fresh thyme leaves, and then it's all going to go in the oven. This is a really great recipe to make with your turkey because it cooks at the same temperature, 350 degrees Fahrenheit. After about 50 minutes to an hour, the squash should be fully cooked and be nice and tender. As a final garnish, I am adding some fresh thyme sprigs and some fresh thyme leaves to add a bit more color. And there you have it, my recipe for butternut squash and Parmesan gratin. This recipe really celebrates the season, and I guarantee this will be one of the first side dishes to go from your Thanksgiving table this year. So that is my dinner menu for Thanksgiving 2020. I hope that you enjoy all these recipes either by yourself, with a partner, or with your close friends and family members this Thanksgiving. So if you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and also consider subscribing to my channel. I post lots of other food recipes, plus home decor and gardening tips, so you definitely don't want to miss any of those. To subscribe, all you have to do is click the red subscribe button below and also click on the bell so that you receive a notification every time I post a brand new video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!